What up, guys? UFC 247 just finished, and Dominick Reyes made the biggest mistake of his career. Let's check it out. So before we get into the breakdown, I mean, if you look at the stats there, this is exactly how the fight played out, okay? Reyes threw a lot more strikes and landed about 10% more strikes overall than Jones. So striking went to Reyes. But Jones went for 9 takedowns and landed 2 of them, didn't do anything on the ground. Jones also was pushing forward the whole fight, so almost all of the 5 rounds, except for when Reyes was throwing these, crazy combinations and throwing these big power shots, having these spurts of energy. Apart from those times, Jon Jones was pushing forward the rest of the time. So Octagon control was Jon Jones. I feel like Reyes could have probably been given some points for the 7 takedowns that he stuffed. But what really happened and what really came down to is Jon Jones is a winner. And Dominick Reyes fucked up. And in the 5th round, was pulling away and trying to avoid Jon Jones's crazy attack at the very end because Jones knew he was losing. And he even said his coaches told him, you need to win this 5th round. And Reyes thought that he had won. So he even said, I thought that I was winning 3. So he probably thought, fuck, I'll pull away from this crazy forward pressure that Jones is putting in the 5th round because I think I've already won. Which is so stupid. Reyes should have gone out swinging in that 5th round. Even put himself in harm's way to make sure that 5th round was at least even, if not in Reyes' favor, because it looked like he still had something in the gas tank. So for him to just say, I thought I had 3 and I thought I already won, and, I thought it was done, I didn't, that's why Jon Jones, forget about all the technical stuff, strengths, height, reach, all that stuff. Jon Jones finds a way to win. So, I mean, let's look at what Reyes did firstly. So Reyes basically, I would say, mimicked Alexander Gustafsson first fight with Jon Jones. Now, Alex was a really good boxer, had better hand speed, better movement, and he really utilized that in their first fight. Not the second fight where he got smashed. First fight with Jon Jones, which was controversial, just like this. Dominick Reyes just replicated what Alexander Gustafsson did. And he moved out of Jon Jones' attacks, moved this way, moved that way. So when he got up against the cage, didn't let Jones smother him. Just moved out of the way. He used really good boxing, extreme power and speed, which was an advantage that Reyes had over Jones. Didn't get taken down, and he pretty much did everything perfectly. His game plan was perfect. But when it came to that 5th round, and he thought that he was winning, he should have went in there and said, you know what, I'm probably still winning this, but I want to make sure that I take the belt from the champion. Not that it's just even or I maybe try and get it. I'm going to take this belt from him. So the game plan with Reyes was amazing. His walk into the cage, he didn't do the McGregor walk, but he did this kind of bouncing around, where he was, like unusual MMA warm-up, they kind of go around the mat. And he went around the octagon, but he was bouncing. If you watch the replay, he looked so confident. So confident the way he's bouncing around. Like he just knew. And he even said before the fight, I know I'm going to win. And so Reyes did a great job, for 90% of the fight. And also Reyes' takedown defense, even when he got taken down, he got straight back up. He is so strong. I think it's just the way his body is built. He's got that very strong hips, core strength, and he was able just to pop back up straight away. Even Chris Weidman couldn't take him down. So Jon Jones, on the other hand, he looked a little bit nervous. Now, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but when Jon Jones, well, firstly, before the fight even took place, Jones was looking for reasons to hate Reyes. And he was saying stuff during the interviews like, I'm going to get you, and, you brought this on yourself, and, everything was cool until he said this, and now I'm pissed off at him. I could actually see Jones trying to make reasons in his head to dislike Reyes to give him the motivation. It seemed like he needed the motivation. Reyes didn't need motivation. Reyes was going in for his first title contention fight, and becoming a champion. Jon Jones, this was his 14th or 15th defense. So Jones was seeming like he needed extra motivation, and by making enemies with Reyes, it gave Jones a little bit of a push. So I feel like Jones needed that, which I don't like. Secondly to that, no, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but Jones, on the way out, on his octagon walkout, he actually took his hat off and put it on the camera and dropped on the ground. He picked it up and then he put it back on, and then he was like, "Oh no, I don't like that." Took it back off and put it on. It just seemed nervous. He did seem nervous, to do that and then to drop it and then to put it back on the wrong way and then to put it back. Oh, I'll change it. Those are nerves. That's what nerves does to you. It makes you a little bit, fumbling and you're mumbling your words, stuff like that. Then when he got to the cage, he didn't say goodbye to his team first, but before they put the grease on him, they told him, turn around and say high fives and say all your goodbyes to your team. So he had to be reminded to do that. The last little thing was, I don't know if people noticed this, and I don't know if it's 100% true, but I thought that I saw Jones when he went to walk into the cage, does this little crawling thing in. He slipped, a foot slipped, and the camera cut away quickly when they went to another shot. But I thought I saw Jones slip, not like he hurt himself or anything like that, but I could see the nerves, right? He slipped when he was going into the cage. So just little things that I noticed. Jon Jones came out with his usual crawl stance, and he quickly popped back up because you could see Reyes was coming out of the gate strong. Now, Jon Jones, first 3 rounds, he was kind of weathering the storm. And I was actually impressed by Reyes' gas tank. Reyes really, to be fair, he didn't really get tired. But what Jon Jones did really well was evading the heavy strikes. Even when Reyes was trying to smother him and get in there and throw these power combination after power combination and push Jones against the fence, Jones was still able to move, good head movement, and then get off the cage. It was amazing to see. I think this is one point that really people don't talk about. It was amazing to see how Jon Jones was able to roll with the punches, to move quite evasively. And even when he was backed up against the cage with tremendous pressure from Reyes, throwing these huge haymakers and combinations and fast, Jon Jones didn't weather under the pressure and didn't kind of get flustered, but he was able to go away from the cage, to go to one side or the other side and get away from the attack of Reyes. So I thought that was really, really, really special to watch how Jon Jones did that. I would have liked to have seen him throw some counters when Reyes was throwing these big power shots and missing, but I don't know if that's necessarily Jon Jones' game, to slip and counter. Jon Jones did great evading for the first 3 rounds, and then took over the 4th round. He, arguably could have had one of those 3 rounds. And then what Jon Jones did is he showed that he had that winner, and he even said this, that winner's mentality, that he was gonna leave it all on the line. 5th round, he came out guns a blazing and took the fight from Reyes. And you can still argue and say Reyes got robbed, but we'll finish off with that. So I'd say John Jones did a great job of taking that 5th round. John Jones also does really good when he finishes each round strong, and he's able to make it look like he's doing better in the judge's eyes. So there's little things that he does where he's putting forward pressure. But definitely the ring control, Jones was pushing forward the majority of the time. And I don't think John Jones landed too many significant head strikes though. Didn't do any ground damage. So in summary, Reyes fucked up. Now you could blame it on the judges. You could say John Jones did this and this right and finished each round strong, and John Jones knew how to take over the 5th round, so the last impression in the judges' eyes was, Jones was the winner. But Reyes should have just finished that 5th round strong. He didn't. He thought he won it. He thought he had it in the bag, and he took off the gas. And he even said Jones was throwing these big flurries, but Reyes didn't really have any risk, because Jones doesn't necessarily knock people out with one punch power, so it wasn't really a big risk for Reyes. He wasn't really in a big risk of being taken down. And so Reyes should have just gone out swinging, especially in that last minute of the 5th round. It would have really cemented it for him, and he didn't do it. The other big thing that I was surprised about was we thought the advantages for Jones were his wrestling. I thought the clinch work with his elbows were going to be a big advantage. And I thought John Jones, his selection of attacks was so much broader than Reyes. I thought Reyes wouldn't be able to deal with it. But Reyes couldn't be taken down. John Jones barely landed any elbows in the clinch. I think Reyes actually landed a couple elbows in the clinch. And John Jones wasn't able to get off that, those crazy other attacks that he does, because Reyes was just so good at moving. So I think we learnt that Reyes is actually way better than we thought. And John Jones and the pack, basically, the whole group has caught up to John Jones.